Hello. Oh.
And still four-time Olympia champion Andrea Shaw.
Hello, welcome to the channel. I'm gonna switch it up and do some Q&A today. So we've got some questions from some fans. Gonna see what's the word.
Okay. If you were to start your fitness or competition journey all over again, is there anything you would change?
Yeah, I definitely would. Probably my approach to competing. I would have studied more before I just jumped on stage. I would have told myself, hey, you know what, go to a show, actually look and see what it's about, what it's like. I definitely would also go right into women's bodybuilding. Knowing what I know now, I never was a good fit for figure. I borderline was a good fit for women's physique, but I would definitely give myself at least those tidbits, and then I would hire a coach. Like, I would not try to self-coach. I had friends help along the way, but I didn't hire a coach until I was already probably almost 10 years in. I started in 2008, did 2 shows, and then jumped back in 2016, did 1 show, and again, no coach, so it was just going in. And yeah, once I hired a coach, it was like, why didn't I do this sooner? Could have been further along, but timing is everything. It still worked out really good, so.
How do you stay disciplined when the going gets tough?
I try to remember the goal when, you know, there's a thoughtfulness of like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna be disciplined when, yeah, you don't feel like it, okay? Let's be honest. There are some athletes who really have a hard drive and they can, you know, just go at it and they never lack motivation. But for people who every now and then have a day or two where it's like the energy's low and it's like, you just gotta keep pushing, I try to remember the goal. So there's only so much time that you have, and the closer you get to the date, it's just a matter of asking yourself, am I giving everything that I can to make sure that I achieve the goal? So some days, you know, if you got 80%, give 80%, but give all 80%. And most days, once you get going, it gets easier to get through. You just have to make sure that you understand, okay, especially with competing, and that's probably one reason why I like it so much. There's a date, like there's a hard date. I know I'm on stage on this day, and that's enough to really keep me disciplined because I don't want to have the experience that I did in 2019 where I did the Rising Phoenix, and I was not happy with the level of discipline that I gave to that prep. And I knew in my heart when I got 7th place that it was my fault. I did not do what was required, and there were some corners that I cut. And so knowing what that feeling felt like, I don't want to ever have that again. So it's just a matter of, okay, this is the date, this is the goal, and I have to do what's required.
What are your other hobbies outside of bodybuilding?
Ah, good one. I don't have a whole lot of hobbies outside of bodybuilding. I know that sounds kind of lame, but I mean, I like to explore different museums. I'm a huge fan of history, architecture. So whenever I travel, I try to find different places to go and do sightseeing and, you know, find out, you know, what's the history behind the culture, things like that. I watch a lot of Jeopardy, or at least I used to. I don't anymore, but like all throughout high school, all throughout college, even when I was in my elementary school years with my grandfather, we watched Jeopardy a lot. So yeah, I mean, you know, kind of geeky, kind of nerdy. I like reading. That's fun. I like organizing. I know that sounds weird, but like I like looking at things once they're organized and it's like, this is pretty. It's cleansing. So yeah, I definitely enjoy those types of things. And I mean, you know, the other girly stuff, shopping, that's always a given.
Okay. What does your favorite day look like?
My favorite day. Cheat meal day. Cheat meal day is always a good day. I think that a favorite day would probably look like, you know, getting my workout in early, getting my meal prep done, or if it hasn't already been done, getting some good stretching in, and enjoying some time outside on like a good weather. Yeah, when the weather's nice in Michigan, because we know the winter is coming, getting outside is always fun. Yeah.
Okay. What is a life lesson you would want a young person to know?
Nothing that it feels like a uncomfortable experience lasts forever. So don't make permanent decisions on temporary things. That's definitely one that I think, even in today's culture, that a lot of young people sometimes make decisions based on wanting things like right now, and there's almost a lost art of, working to attain things, or, putting forth more effort to actually earn things. But when they make certain decisions, they don't really understand the consequences behind them, and they're based on emotion. And I think that, taking a step back to just acknowledge how you feel. I mean, you can't just ignore it, so acknowledge it. But then, maybe ask a friend for help, or, spend more time thinking about it before you just make a decision, because sometimes once you've made certain decisions, there's no going back.
Who is your biggest inspiration?
Ooh. I'd have to say my mom. I had to say my mom. She definitely is, because Mom, she really demonstrated, she talked to me as a child, but she demonstrated what it meant to make your mind up about things, make decisions, fully commit, even when it's not convenient, when it gets hard, when you feel like, oh, why did I do this? This wasn't the best idea. You still need to follow it through. So I would have to say definitely Mom, but I've definitely had some others who have emerged as mentors and friends, Sid Gillen, Linda Murray, Alina Popa. I mean, they definitely, being athletes themselves, really gave me more of the business aspect of being an athlete, because I think some athletes get caught up into just the performance. But there are also other things that you can do while you're still competing to really transition yourself into some things that are long-lasting, long after you're retired from the stage, and building relationships. So, my mom gave me the great foundation and it groomed me along the way, but I've been very fortunate to have some other ladies who have emerged to really step in and fulfill some pretty big roles in my life.
Do you have a hidden talent?
Nope. I mean, yeah. I wish I did. I mean, I've developed certain skills, but I mean, I've not cheerleaded or done gymnastics in a while, so could be a little rusty, but still know a few tricks.
What is your favorite movie and why?
Ooh, that one's tough. Okay, well, I gotta go nostalgia. All my Disney fans, right? My favorite movie has gotta be Lady and the Tramp, because I grew up with it. Even as a kid, I watched that movie for hours and hours and hours. Kept myself entertained. So that one, I would have to say that one's definitely my favorite, because it's just, I grew up with it. And like my mom said, I used to quote various scenes a lot. And I still have my old original VHS. Yeah, I'm not getting rid of it. It's that near and dear.
After a competition, what is your number one food or beverage?
Oh, I definitely go more, water's the favorite beverage, because at that point I'm thirsty. Super thirsty. Favorite food, I usually order off the appetizer menu. So I mean, if they've got lamb chops, I'm going for them. If not, any sort of seafood will do. I'll go with like any sort of like shrimp, coconut shrimp, yeah, wingdings, pretzels. Oh yeah, just I like little tastes of almost everything, but if I can't find something that I really want, then a good slider will get it done.
Is there anything that you would change in the competitor's world if you had a magic wand?
Yes, if I had a magic wand, I would definitely change the competitors' attitudes about just showing up and like winning, like their first show. It's like, okay, I told a client of mine like last week, she's doing her second show and I'm prepping her. She's transitioned from bikini to wellness, and you know, she understands that, you know, she has to grow into her role as an athlete, but you know, she's like, how do you balance the wanting to win with, you know, managing the prep? And I'm like, well, I didn't know you showed up and just won your second show. Some people do, but again, I mean, are you, what is your goal, right? When it comes to your personal growth. I think every athlete needs to have a focus on personal growth in addition to wanting to win. Yes, we want, don't just train to train, right? You want to train to win, but you also want to look at certain aspects of yourself that need to be further developed. And that's the one thing that, again, I think, well, one of the things that made me fall in love with competing. I've learned so many different things about myself with like almost each prep, about different things that I can do better. And now it's like, okay, that becomes a part of the journey, but you know, it refines you. Like when I was in college, I had to learn how to manage my time better. I had to learn the meal prep, and I had to learn how to like get all the other things done, do my training, and you know, resist temptation with food in social situations. Again, at a certain point, I really began to see, okay, you know what, I'm changing, and I'm becoming much more efficient as an adult. And those are the things that I think, if I had a magic wand, I would tell competitors, let's change the mindset and focus on much longer lasting things.
So why bodybuilding? Why did you get into it?
Because it's hard. No, I mean, when I first started, it was all about looks. And then certain parts of it were, you know, some people didn't believe in me, and they said that, you know, they didn't think I had the heart to stick with it. And I went through a pretty sour breakup, and I just wanted to revamp myself. So I knew that the exterior would be the quickest way to start the change, even though I was going to continuously work on the inside. The outside became something that was much easier to go after and kind of really get the ball rolling, so to speak. And then when I thought about it, I said, well, you know, I could do triathlons, duathlons, I could, you know, get into CrossFit or, you know, powerlifting, but like I wanted to look good too. So it was, some of it was vanity. But it really, when I boiled it down in the pot, the steps with bodybuilding really become, I think, and just my opinion, much more challenging than some of the sport performance things that I could have gotten into. So, I mean, I've done cheerleading, I've done gymnastics, and they're team sports, but bodybuilding is an individual sport. And then, like I said, it really shows you like how you need to change and adapt to meet a certain goal. And you don't have anybody else to really rely on to get those things done except yourself. And that became part of my journey to, you know, efficacy, and autonomy. Like, I can do this, I'm gonna be responsible, and it's not just in the gym. Because for a while I was in the gym, but I wasn't really seeing the results I wanted. So then I'm like, okay, what's gonna make me do what I need to do to take it to that next level? All right, you need to get the diet together. So I mean, I spun the block with my diet for 6 years before I really like got serious about, you know, getting my diet together. But that was when I decided to compete. And I said, okay, when I compete, the suit is only this big. I have to stick to this diet. Like, if I'm gonna do it, I need to fully commit, and I need to give as much effort in the gym, out of the gym. And so then again, I'm calling myself to a higher standard. I'm calling myself up to a greater level of discipline. And that became very intriguing to me. And it became like a mental toughness that I had to display and show myself that I can do it. I can do it. Things have to change. I have to change. I can adapt. But if this is really important to me, and yeah, I mean, at that time, you know, anytime you want the revenge body and you want to prove people wrong, all while, you know, trying to find a new self, I was highly motivated. But then again, my motivation started to shift a little bit as the deeper I got into it. Now it's just a matter of, you know, what else can I do to really level up and become the best me that I can be? And again, it just keeps me in love with the sport because I love the dieting. I love being able to do the hard things that most other people just slough off. And nothing against people, it's not for everybody, I get it. We subject ourselves to this, but I do it happily because I enjoy it. And I enjoy the results that I get from knowing that I did something very challenging and I did it well. Yeah, that's fun.
Do you have, what is a bucket list travel destination?
Ooh.
You could go anywhere.
I got 2 places on my vision board. Dubai, and because I've seen a few other countries so far, so Dubai and Iceland. Yeah, I'm kind of like really intrigued by the lagoons in Iceland, and the desert and the monstrosities of buildings in Dubai. So far those are like my two big ones, and Greece. Definitely want to go to Mykonos. That's like, definitely, if I could do those like tomorrow, passport's ready.
Keeping yourself grounded.
I think that when you think about the fragility of the human experience, right? I always remember that life is a gift. Having lost my dad at an early age, it's definitely something that I know helps to keep me grounded. My dad was 40 when he died. He had lung cancer. And there have been points in my life where I really wonder, you know, what would he think about, you know, the woman that I've become? And it's one of those things that in the back of my mind, I always say, you know, you have today. And that day that I found out that he was gone, it was, I remember like down to the detail what I had on, where I was, who told me, right, where I was sitting. But it became very clear to me, like people, and I worked in a hospital for a little while, doing patient care, and it was, again, it was a heightened awareness that life is very precious. So again, you see people, you connect with people, do your best to really like I like to say love on your people while they're with you, right? Or some people say give your flowers while, you know, people are still alive. But that's what keeps me grounded. I try to really enjoy and experience people that I find interesting, or that I find are really good people that I connect with. And I try to really just focus on enjoying them and the time that we have to live. And preferably that is a very, very long time.
After you won your first Olympia, how did you feel?
I felt amazing, but it was so magical. Like the first one, it was on my birthday, my actual birthday, and it was the first time that the Ms Olympia was back, and so the moment for me was just like, it was extra special. I mean, I almost didn't sleep that night. I slept in the bed with the gold medal, and it was just like, wow. I still get like that, but the first one, right, it was definitely one like that is, how can you explain these things? It was like, you know, it's what I prayed for, but that much more. And knowing that, it just, it is amazing. So good.
What are you gonna do after this? After we're done filming right now. What are you doing right after this?
Oh, I am going to, what time is it? Well, it's only 5:47. I'm probably gonna cook a little bit. I need to cook a little bit. Today is like my fourth day in prep. Yeah, it's May 4th. I'm like, I need to get some food ready. So I'll be traveling back to the States tomorrow, and I need to make sure the food is ready. So I've got some salmon in the house. I've got some broccolini. I've got some vegetable medley, some peppers and spinach, and I need to get to cooking it up. Well, that's it for now, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we want to know what other questions do you have. So feel free to comment below, because we will be doing a follow-up the closer I get to being on stage for the Rising Phoenix. So we look to hear from you soon. I'm hungry. Bye.